Hey everyone and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to be talking through all the books that I am hopefully going to be reading in January, chosen by my new TBR game for 2022. Yeah, I just realised it's going to be 2022 in a few days and I am not ready. So I loved playing my TBR game throughout 2021, but I started to feel like it was becoming a little bit restrictive. So a few months ago I came up with an idea for a new TBR game, which I'm really excited about because I feel like this is going to give me a little bit more freedom when it comes to choosing books to read every month. So my new TBR game for 2022 is called I'm a Booktuber, Get Me Out of Here, which is inspired by the TV show I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. This is obviously the board game, and the idea behind the game is that I start in this corner and I make my way around the board through the jungle and then back out again. The number of books that I end up reading is going to depend on the number of rolls that it takes to make my way around the board. So I think if I've done my maths right, the minimum number of books that I could add to a TBR is 3, and then the maximum is 20, but I think it's hopefully unlikely that I'm ever gonna roll 21s in a row, but we will obviously see how it goes. Each of the spaces has either a star or a genre, so I've put the top 3 genres that I typically read, so fantasy, thriller and romance, and then I also have a space for others, so that relates to any genre that's not on the board, for example science fiction or historical fiction or non-fiction. The stars are basically the equivalent of the Bush Tucker trials that they have in the TV show. So if I land on a star, I have to pick a card, and all the cards have different prompts, so different challenges. Things like read a book that's highly rated on Goodreads or read a book that's over 500 pages. Some of the challenges are harder than others. Some of them are really mean, but some of them are quite nice. Yeah, there's a good mix in there because I don't want to make this TBR game too complicated or too difficult to complete. I think that's everything that I wanted to cover in terms of the board game, but obviously I'm going to be playing this today to pick my January TBR, and in January I'm taking part in 1 read-along and 1 readathon, and the readathon is actually my own readathon. So I am hosting in January the Goodreads Choice readathon, which is basically a readathon that's all around reading books that have been nominated in the Goodreads Choice Awards. I will leave a link to the announcement video in the description if you wanted to find out more. But yeah, for the first 2 weeks in January, my focus is going to be on completing that readathon because there are 5 loose prompts and I'm going to try and read a book for every single prompt, but I might have to double up on a couple of them because typically in 2 weeks I'll read around 4 books, but I might be able to add an audiobook to my TBR, which I will read alongside the physical books. But I am rambling, so without further ado, let's go with roll number 1. Okay, so here we go with roll number 1, which is a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is other. So as you'll have seen, for roll number 1 we landed on other, and for this I've decided to go for The 4 Winds by Kristen Hanna. I don't own a copy of this, but I have ordered a copy from my library, so hopefully I'll be able to pick it up during the readathon because I do want to read this for the Goodreads Choice readathon. This was nominated in 2021 in the historical fiction category, and I'm pretty sure that it didn't win. It came second because Malibu Rising won, but I've heard really good things about this. All I really know is that it's set in America during the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl era, but I really loved The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, so I already know that I'm probably going to enjoy the writing style and that this is going to be a very character-driven and emotional read because The Nightingale made me cry. It was one of my favourite books actually of 2020, I think it was, when I read it. One of the main reasons why this appeals to me, other than the fact that it's written by Kristen Hanna, is because I'm always on the lookout for historical fiction that's set during times that I haven't typically read about. So I think that the main issue that I have with historical fiction is that I love historical fiction when I actually read it, but a lot of the popular books that I hear about are set during World War II, which is fine. I have read a lot of World War II fiction and really enjoyed it, but I'm always on the lookout for books that sound a little bit different. So really excited for this one, and this fits the readathon prompt to read a book that's outside your comfort zone because, like I said, I don't read a lot of historical fiction. Okay, roll number 2 is 1, which is fantasy. So for roll number 2 we landed on fantasy, and for this I'm going to go for Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune, which I'm really excited about because I've heard really good things about this and also also House in the Cerulean Sea. I've never read anything by TJ Klune before. I actually got an arc of this through NetGalley, but I never got around to reading it before the publication date, so it's definitely one that I want to prioritise in January. I think this is about a guy who has recently died and he's now a ghost, but he refuses to pass over to the other side. And then I think it's also about a guy who runs a tea shop at the edge of the afterlife. Based on other people's reviews, I'm expecting this to be very heartwarming and very emotional. It might actually be another book that makes me cry, but this fits 2 readathon prompts actually, because I think I'm going to use this for the prompt to read a book with a beautiful cover, but I've also heard that it has LGBTQ plus rep as well. Role number 3 is another one, which is a challenge, and the challenge is scroll through Instagram. Okay, so I am really nervous about this next one because for our next role we landed on challenge, which is really exciting to be fair, because it's the first challenge of this new TBR game, but the prompt is to scroll through Instagram for a recommendation. And so what I'm going to do is screen record on my phone and then get up the Instagram app and just keep on scrolling until I come across a book that I own, either physically or on my Kindle. I'm only going to look for books that I already own because I don't want to have to spend money to fulfill the prompt, but I'm scared because I could literally be adding any book to my TBR. Okay, so I've just started screen recording. And okay, I just saw actually. Okay, right. So Bee Blossom Books actually has a flat lay of a load of Colleen Hoover books, and I did recently receive a Colleen Hoover book for my birthday and Christmas. So I'm actually really excited about that because I was thinking it might be a while before I got around to reading it. So the book I'm going to be reading is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, which was very kindly sent to me by Helen from Helen's Bookhaven, and I have heard really good things about this one. I've heard that it's very emotional and that it's very hard-hitting, because I think that one of the main themes within this book is domestic violence. I haven't really looked too much into it because I know that Colleen Hoover does tend to write twists into her books, but I am excited to get around to this. I was so nervous that I was going to end up with a completely random book, but yeah, this has worked out actually pretty well. Okay, so role number 4, I think this is a 2, which is a thriller. So for the next role we landed on thriller, and for this I'm going with The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave, which I think I've got that title right, but this is a mystery thriller. I think it might be more of a mystery than a thriller, but I'm not really sure because I haven't heard many people talking about this book, even though it did win the mystery thriller category in the 2021 Goodreads Choice Awards. I believe that this is about a woman whose husband has recently gone missing, and the FBI get in touch with her and tell her that maybe he isn't who she thinks he is. I think she also has a stepdaughter who doesn't like her very much. They have a very strained relationship, and so I think it's about them working together to try and learn who this man really is. This loosely fits the prompt to read a 5-star prediction because, like I said, it did win the mystery thriller category in 2021, so I do have high hopes that I am gonna love it. Okay, so role number 5, I think this is a 1, which is other. So for the next role we landed on other, and for this I really wanted to pick a sci-fi because one of the prompts for the Goodreads Choice Readathon is to read a book that's outside your comfort zone, and sci-fi is definitely a genre that's outside my comfort zone because I really don't read a lot of sci-fi. There are 2 books that I was thinking of adding to my TBR that I'm trying to decide between. The sensible option would be to go for A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers because the audiobook for this is available on Scribd, and I think it's only a 4-hour long audiobook, so I could probably finish it within a couple of days, so it's pretty perfect for a readathon. But the book that I really want to read is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, which I think actually won the science fiction category in 2021. I don't even know what this book is about. I'm pretty sure that it's about a guy that's stranded in space or something like that, but I really loved The Martian by Andy Weir. I would say that that's probably one of my favourite science fiction books, but also I haven't read a lot of science fiction, so it's not exactly difficult to get that top spot. If I can find it on audiobook, then I will listen to the audiobook because I have heard really good things about the narration on the audiobook, but I do own it on my Kindle, so it would be nice to also tick this off my Kindle TBR. Okay, so I think we're on roll number 6, which is a 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is fantasy. So for the next roll, we landed on fantasy, and I really wasn't sure what book to choose for this. And then I remembered that there is a book that I want to read outside of the readathon, because I really want to join in with COSMERE UNBOUNDED, which is a read-along that's hosted by Joanna Souza, and it's all to do with reading books within Brandon Sanderson's COSMERE. The book for January is Warbreaker, which was the next book that I was planning on picking up by Brandon Sanderson anyway, because this is one of his standalones, and I'm pretty sure that this is about two sisters and the magic system is based around colour. I've only read Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, but I really enjoyed it, and so I'm really excited to be reading more of his books, because I'm pretty sure that he has the potential to become a new favourite author, if he isn't already, let's be honest. Okay, so is this going to be the last roll? It is, it's a 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That roll does actually bring us to the end of the game. However, there is one more book that I'm going to be adding to my TBR in January, because one of the prompts for the readathon is to read a poll pick. So last night I put a poll out on both Twitter and Instagram with 4 romance books to choose from, because I don't have any romance books on my TBR and I wanted to try and break up the genres, but the 4 options were The Spanish Love Deception, One Last Stop, It Happened One Summer, and The X Talk. The winner on both Twitter and Instagram was One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston, which I am really excited about, because this book was on my list of most anticipated book releases of 2021. So that was a video that I made a year ago, over a year ago, and I still haven't read it yet, but I really want to. This is a romance, but it also has a sci-fi twist, because it's about a woman who has recently moved to New York City, and there's this woman that she sees every day on the train that she has a little bit of a crush on. However, she then finds out that this woman is displaced in time from the 1970s, and she's stuck on this train. So it's about their romance, but it's also about this situation and how they're trying to get this woman off the train. I don't know whether to read this physically or to try it on audiobook, because I have seen that the audiobook is available on Scribd. I think I'm going to order a copy anyway, because I feel like it is a book that I am going to want to own physically, because I really enjoyed Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, and this is a 5-star prediction. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to love it. I'm also going to be buddy reading this with Aoife from Pretty Purple Polka Dots, which I'm really excited about, because we've never done a buddy read before, and I haven't done a buddy read actually in a really long time. So it's going to be nice to start the new year off with one. But yeah, I think that brings the total number of books to 7 on my January TBR, which I think is pretty manageable, even though some of these books are pretty chunky. I'm going to be reading a lot of them for the readathon, which is the first 2 weeks of the month, so hopefully the second half will be a little more chilled. But I will be doing reading vlogs throughout January, so keep an eye out for those if you are interested in getting my thoughts on any of these books. I think I am going to end the video here though, so thanks for watching. If you've made it this far, let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books and what books are on your TBR for January. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and click subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Bye!